Hello and welcome to the Confident at Work podcast. I'm your host and your confidence coach, Anna Manning, and today I'm going to teach you one really simple tool that you can use to walk yourself from doubt to trust. So loads of people, loads of us experience self-doubt at work. It gets in our way, it slows us down, it makes us nervous, it makes us anxious, it makes us question ourselves, it might make us quiet. But I was reminded when I taught a masterclass this week that this one really simple tool exists and it is easy to use. So I'm going to teach it you today and I'm going to give you some examples so you can see how it's actually used in practice. So here's the tool, and it's a simple 3-step process. First, you identify the circumstance. So what is the situation that you're doubting about? Be specific. Step 2, you identify the doubt. So often it's just like a cloud in your mind. There's just kind of stuff hanging over, or it might just be a feeling. But you want to identify what is the doubt in your mind. And I want you to write down the sentence that your brain is saying. And then step 3, you're just going to ask yourself, what can I trust in this situation? And then let your brain answer. Write down whatever you come up with. So when I taught this in the masterclass this week, one of the participants said that he'd had some doubt around a meeting that he was going to be going into with quite a few unfamiliar people. And he just took it upon himself to keep doing this exercise and writing down all of the things about that situation. And he identified the doubt he had, and he was writing all the things that he could trust in that situation. And he had a big smile on his face. So I asked him, I was like, what's happening? And he said, I felt really nervous about it before, and I'm actually quite looking forward to it now. And it reminded me, like, this tool can be powerful. So here are some examples so you can see what it actually sounds like. This is one of mine. And I actually did this in my head because I'm really, really practiced at using this tool. But for you, if you're starting out, I recommend writing it down because your brain can be a little bit slippery and tricky. So you want to kind of slow it down, pin it down. But I did this in my head as I was going to wash my hands and kind of brush my hair. So I was delivering a brand new training program. And I noticed that I was feeling a little bit apprehensive, a little bit unsure, which, I'm okay with. I was like, okay, what is the doubt here? And my brain answered, I'm not sure how it's going to go. So I asked myself the quick question, okay, what can I trust in this situation? And again, I allowed myself to answer. I've delivered lots of training before. Even though the program's new, the skills that I'm using to deliver it aren't. I know I'm not carrying the whole session by myself. The people are going to be there, the participants, they're bringing ideas, experiences, they're going to be talking, we're going to be having discussion. I also developed the material, so I actually know it better than anyone. And last thing, I was like, no matter what happens, I can learn from it, I can apply it, and I can do it better next time. So I walked myself quickly through that process. Well, I mean, did it take 30 seconds? It was that fast. And I noticed the instant feeling change. I went from being kind of nervous and anxious and a little bit kind of inward looking to calmer, more open, more present. And I was just like, right, cool, let's just get on with it. So there's one of my example, but I've pulled out a couple of others so you can really get to grips with it. So first step, we identify the circumstance. And this was, I'm going into a meeting with senior leaders and we identified the doubt for this client. What is the doubt? And the doubt was, what if I make a mistake? Okay. So we ask the third step, what can I trust in this situation? And they answer, I've prepared for this. I know my area of expertise. If someone asks me something I don't know, I can say, good question. I don't know, but I'll find out. My senior leaders aren't expecting perfection, but they do expect thoughtful contributions. I can make those. If I make a mistake, I can probably recover and correct it, and the meeting will move on. So the feeling that changed for that client, they said, was they were less intimidated, they were more grounded, more willing to contribute, and just less focused on themselves and more focused on what was actually going to be happening in the room. Here's the third example. And this one was a client applying for promotion. And the doubt was, when we finally surfaced it, what if I'm just not good enough? Okay. So we asked the third question, what can I trust in this situation? And the answer was, I've earned the opportunity to apply for this. I've been supported to apply for this promotion by 2 senior leaders. I know the experience and the strengths that I bring, and I've been doing a similar job for the last 4 years. Even if they don't give me the job, I know that eventually I'll be able to learn from it and move on. And the feeling change for that client was the pressure lifted, more self-belief. They felt like they could be more authentic and actually able to show up as themselves. So notice what we did. We didn't try and fight with the doubt. We didn't try and get rid of the uncertainty or prove the doubt wrong. We just moved the attention away from the doubt to things that we can actually trust. Very often when we're doubting, our brain is showing us like one very specific part of an overall picture. And this exercise, it almost makes you take a few steps back and consider the entire picture. And when you consider the entire picture, that there's all these things that you can trust, the picture doesn't look as scary as it did before. So you can feel a little calmer, a little less tense. There's a little less pressure and probably a little bit more trust. So my practical tips for you when you're using this tool is, as I said, in the beginning, write it down. Your brain's going to slow down when it's on paper. And something happens, paper or electronic, right? If you're typing, something happens when you get it out of your head and onto paper or onto a screen. You can actually assess it with a little bit more distance, and it's really going to help. Eventually, you'll be able to do it mentally, but learn on paper or on a screen first. And as you heard from this episode, I still do this exercise today because even though I am in a high confidence cycle, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to the link in the show notes, take the confidence assessment. That's going to tell you whether or not you're in a high or a low confidence cycle and give you some help to get out of it. But even though I'm in a high confidence cycle, I still use this exercise because I don't think, especially if you're going to try something new, do something new, put yourself outside your comfort zone, go for things, you're ever going to have a completely doubt-free existence. I'm not saying it's not possible, but I haven't experienced it so far. So this tool will also equip you and help you to know when a doubt arises, you know how to support yourself. You know how to lead yourself in that moment, how to handle it, how to walk yourself into a place that feels better, easier, calmer. So this week, whenever you notice a doubt, just use those 3 steps. What's the circumstance? What's the doubt? And what can I trust in this situation? And for those of you who like to picture this and think of it as having a really good internal manager, we talked about that on last week's podcast episode. Think of it as your internal manager kind of stepping in when you've got a doubt and really like leading you through it to get to a place where you feel calmer and more confident. If you would like to come and work with me, there are 2 ways that you can do that. And the first is through private coaching. A lot of my clients now come from listening to the podcast. We sit down together first off, we have a call, and you tell me all about the areas that are challenging, that currently you have confidence struggles, and how you would like things to be different. I listen really closely and I'm thinking and analyzing, okay, what's going on under the surface here, which is creating these confidence problems. And then we put together a comprehensive plan for how you can solve it, for how you can feel more confident at work. The other way of working with me is through the Confident at Work program. So this is just for women. We have a group of women who come together every other week. We coach and we train on the skills that underpin confidence. If any of those sound interesting to you, head to the link in the show notes, book a call, and I will see you in next week's episode. Bye.
Confidence, confidence, confident. I can be confident. Confidence, confidence, confident.